أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Peace and blessings be upon you, and welcome. Today, we're going to explore something truly profound, a passage from the Quran that poses a question that sits at the very core of our lives.
You know, after all the hustle and bustle of life, after all the trials, all the choices, all the complexities, the Quran just cuts through all of that noise. It poses this final, beautifully simple question. What is everything in your life actually organized around? What is your true center? So, where do we even start to find the answer to a question like that? Well, the Quran suggests it's not about winning some complex philosophical argument. It's about witnessing a simple reality. And it begins by recentering our entire perspective with a declaration of profound simplicity.
Just listen to the structure here. It kicks off with a clear statement of fact. Your God is one. This isn't presented as a theory to be debated. It's presented as the fundamental truth of all reality. And what immediately follows this powerful declaration of oneness? The attributes of overwhelming compassion and mercy.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The source material we're looking at highlights this crucial balance. Think about it. A unity that is absolute, all-powerful, but has no mercy? That would be completely overwhelming. It would crush us. But on the flip side, a mercy that isn't anchored to a single unified source? That would just be chaotic. It would scatter in every direction. The two need each other. They create a universe that is both orderly and loving.
And this is how that unity shows itself. It's not through a boring, flat monotony. It's through the incredible, ordered diversity of the world around us. The Quran invites us to just look. Look at the creation of the heavens and the earth, the cycle of night and day, the ships sailing the sea, the rain giving life to dead land. Each of these is its own unique miracle, yet they all point back to one single, sustaining intelligence.
Okay, so that's the big picture. But how does this universal truth connect to us, right here in our own hearts? The Quran says that the root of so much of our human suffering isn't really an intellectual mistake. It's a disorder of the heart. It's a problem of misdirected love.
The key term the Quran uses for this is andad. These are the rivals we set up in our hearts. And we're not just talking about statues here. We're talking about anything we give our ultimate love, our ultimate dependence, our ultimate devotion to. It could be our career, our reputation, a relationship, an ideology, anything we start loving with the kind of love that truly belongs only to God.
And here's the inevitable result. It's almost a law of spiritual physics. Anything that isn't the ultimate, eternal reality, well, it simply cannot bear the weight of our ultimate devotion. So when life's pressures come, and they always do, these false centers of gravity just collapse. They weren't designed to hold that kind of weight.
This collapse, it leads to this profound, deep sense of isolation. All those identities we built around these false axes, all the security we thought we had, it all just vanishes. The source text puts it in such a chilling way. Every bond between them is severed. You're left feeling utterly and completely alone.
And in that moment of collapse, a painful kind of clarity arrives. The Quran describes this regret as a form of seeing the truth, but it's a clarity that comes too late. You finally see things as they really are, but you no longer have the power to go back and act on it, to change where you placed your heart.
So if this fragmentation of the heart is the disease, then what's the cure? For centuries, the great spiritual masters, the Sufis, have understood God's oneness, or Tawheed, as more than just a doctrine to believe in. They saw it as a vital medicine for the soul.
The great scholar al-Qushayri just nails it here, doesn't he? He captures the spiritual reality of the heart so perfectly. When we try to orbit multiple suns, multiple absolutes, our energy, our devotion, our very being gets weakened and divided. You just can't serve many masters without tearing yourself apart.
And Ibn Arabi takes this insight even deeper. He says the soul literally fractures when it places the infinite weight of its hopes and fears and identity onto something finite. It's like asking a teacup to hold the entire ocean. Of course it's going to shatter. The fracturing is inevitable.
And Rumi, well, he always gets straight to the point. This is so powerful. He's revealing that what we say we believe, our intellectual theology, can sometimes hide the true state of our hearts. But our love never lies. What we truly love, what we truly depend on day in and day out, that is what ultimately determines our spiritual destiny.
Now, as we're hearing all this ancient wisdom, doesn't it sound surprisingly modern? In fact, I think it maps directly onto a very contemporary condition that so many of us are familiar with.
You see, what the Quran calls shirk al-qalb, a divided devotion of the heart, is what modern psychology often observes as identity fragmentation, which is a huge part of what we call burnout. It's really the same phenomenon, just described in two different languages. It's the soul being pulled apart by competing demands for its ultimate loyalty.
And what are these rival axes in our lives today? Oh, we know them. It's this nagging belief that our worth is only as good as our last performance, that our safety depends entirely on our ability to control every outcome, that we only belong if we get enough likes and approval, that our life only has meaning if we are constantly, relentlessly productive. The healing of Tawheed completely reorders this inner world. It doesn't mean you stop working or caring, but it changes the weight of everything. Work becomes simply your effort. Your worth is already secure with God. Success becomes a provision from Him, not your entire identity. Failure? It's just information for your next try, not the annihilation of your soul. And people, they become beloved companions on the journey, not false gods you have to constantly please. So let's bring this all home now. Let's take a moment for a personal reflection. How does this ancient wisdom actually apply to our lives, right here, right now?
If you're feeling that deep, soul-level exhaustion, the kind that sleep doesn't fix, the invitation here is to ask a different kind of question. It's not just about your to-do list. The deeper question is, what is bearing the ultimate weight of my heart? What am I truly organized around?
You know, maybe we can reframe what burnout is. Perhaps it's not a personal failure or a sign of weakness. Maybe burnout is a sacred signal. Maybe it's the soul crying out, protesting that it's being asked to carry burdens of ultimate worth, meaning, and security. Burdens that only God was ever meant to carry. The guidance, then, isn't to drop everything and run for the hills. It's to reorient your dependence, to let God be that one, single, solid center that holds the ultimate weight of your life. And when you do that, you might just find that everything else, your work, your family, your goals, doesn't disappear. Instead, it gently, beautifully falls into its proper place. And so we'll end with this beautiful prayer from the source material. O One who holds all things, gather our scattered loves. Do not let us lean on what cannot endure. Make you our center, and let the rest find their place. Amen.
This was compiled with deep gratitude by Amir Ali Shah, a fellow seeker sharing through the Living the Wisdom of the Quran podcast. We humbly ask for forgiveness and acceptance for any AI-related mispronunciations or errors you may have heard.